submit Electoral Act 2021 to President for assent. Stakeholders harp on effective management of local government system. Plus, experts advocate implementation of entrepreneurship education in secondary schools across Nigeria. Details and other stories in just a moment. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the news. I am Udwak Etam. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senator Babajide Omoworare, says the National Assembly has transmitted the Electoral Bill 2021 to the President for assent. A statement by the Special Assistant explained that this is in pursuance of Section 58, Subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, and the Authentication Act 2004. The Federation Account Allocation Committee has shared a total of 671.910 billion naira for October 2021 Federation account revenue to the federal, state, and local government councils. This was contained in a communique issued at the end of the Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting for November 2021 held in Lagos State. The 671.910 billion naira total revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 363.849 billion naira, value-added tax VAT revenue of 154.844 billion naira, exchange gain of 3.217 billion, and 150 billion augmentation for the non-mineral revenue. The federal government received 284.292 billion naira. The state government received 209.838 billion naira, and the local government councils received 156.282 billion naira. The sum of 21.498 billion was shared to the relevant states as 13% derivation revenue. In October 2021, the sum of 24.591 billion naira was the total deduction for the cost of collection, and 30.864 billion was total deduction for statutory transfers, savings, and reforms. It is difficult to identify the actual needs of the people at the grassroots without the help of a functional local government system. Stakeholders in local government administration made this assertion while speaking on the importance of local government financial autonomy to the development of rural communities. Kelvin Samuel reports.
Local governments are created with the ultimate goal of bringing government closer to the people at the grassroots. In Nigeria, the local government reform of 1976 is expected to accelerate development and enable the local population participate and hold those in power accountable in an event of misappropriation of funds. However, all these are impossible in the present situation of local government administration in Nigeria, as most state governors have refused to let go of the local government funds.
There are issues in the local government service, and one of those issues that is ringing bell is the issue of local government autonomy.
If given autonomy, it will be better for all of us in Nigeria.
And being a grassroots government, it is expected that they should have the local government, the financial autonomy to be able to operate fully so that development will reach to the grassroots.
It is worrisome that despite the quality of men and women elected into various local government councils across the country, state actors still believe they are too inexperienced to handle funds accruing to their councils. A situation the people say has led to deplorable state of council areas and a total lack of government presence in most rural communities.
That we should see the importance, because when you see the importance of anything, you work towards making that thing to be well. So
we can carry out projects, we can look at other little things that we can do directly. We won't be stranded again.
They are dealing directly with the people, and they feel the impact and what is not there for the people.
There is no doubt that the financial autonomy, which includes the power to control and manage its finance, allocate resources to strategic places, will enable local councils implement policies and decisions that will promote grassroots development in the country. But the big question remains, who will save the local government system from the hands of those who are determined to cripple it? In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
Experts are calling on government and relevant agencies to ensure that all building constructions across the country meet the needed standard and put an end to importation of substandard materials into the country, as doing so will minimize the rate of building collapse in the country. Calvin Samuel again has details.
Between 1974 to 2021, Lagos State has maintained the top record of building collapse in Nigeria, though there have been pockets of this disaster in other parts of the country. While Nigeria Institute of Building and other school of thought often blame these unfortunate incidents to quackery, the engineers maintain that the ignorance of building owners who engages the unprofessional in building and the lack of political will to checkmate these sad developments should not be forgotten.
Some of them don't even invite architects to do whatever designs for them. They just call somebody, okay, cut it here, dig foundation, put, and so the typical Nigerian does not want to spend money on bringing in professionals.
Most times people are doing engineering structures, they will not use the services of engineers, or when they even use them, they won't even listen to them.
Most times they will go and meet the professional to do design, but when it comes to the execution of the building, that's where the cousins to decline, the nephew to decline, the church members, a colleague in the office who have time, or neighbor comes into play. So let's start addressing the collapsed building from the client perspective.
They regretted that beside the loss of capital when building collapsed, the country has lost about 1,090 people to collapsed buildings, while uncountable number of others sustained different degrees of injury.
The material strength is important, because no matter how good you may be, if you are using bad materials, you are using poor materials of poor quality, you definitely will end up having such collapse conditions.
It is not the engineer that produces them. It is not the engineer that gives approval for this material to be imported into Nigeria. The client may not know the quality. What he does is go to building market, buys the reinforcement, buy the cement, and buy the sand. But he doesn't know that that sand contains clay, which is not very good for concrete work.
Quite a number of these failures are because you are not using the real consultancy. You are not using a professional engineer, a structural engineer, an experienced engineer.
The rise in collapse incident has called for stiffer measures to be taken by both builders and regulatory agencies with a view to bringing to an end this ugly trend. In Uyo, Calvin Samuel, NTA News.
You are still watching Nta Calabar News at 7. You can equally watch this newscast on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/NTA Calabar. The news continues shortly. Stay with us, don't go away. Welcome back and thanks for being there. And now to the rest of our bulletin. As the world continues to be threatened by climate change, adaptation is vital to the fight against global warming while building resilience through evolving environmental conditions. These are some solutions proffered by an expert in tackling climate change in Nigeria, noting that government needs to invest in renewable sources of energy and adopt mitigation policies that will minimize the effect of this phenomenon. Climate change refers to an increase in average global temperature, with natural and human activities believed to majorly contribute to the phenomenon. In recent times, Nigeria has been experiencing adverse climate conditions, and Cross River State is not left out, especially with persistence in rainfall patterns leading to rising sea levels, which is threatening the country's coastal region, and other several ecological challenges such as flood as well as erosion, among others.
The persistent rainfall and flood has actually claimed so many farmlands. It has actually helped farmers to do consistent cultivation.
We have to adapt to this situation because we cannot change it immediately. Mitigation takes a very long time.
Climate change has also become a threat to agriculture as well as the economy, and if left unchecked, experts say may result in food insecurity. The good news to the challenge the experts posit is that adopting other modern methods of planting and growing crops that are fast maturing will help in food availability.
Greenhouses should be built. In a greenhouse, you can control the temperature, you can control the moisture, and even the soil nutrients.
Realizing the significance of the environment for survival of man, the need for all to adapt to climate change, experts says, is apt. In Calabar, Uduak Etam, NTA News. As governments at all levels continue to seek ways of bringing the issue of unemployment among the youth to its barest minimum, education experts are advocating the full and practical implementation on entrepreneurship education in all government and private secondary schools in Nigeria. They are of the opinion that profitable skills should be made compulsory from secondary school to tertiary level to help reduce unemployment. Kelvin Samuel.
One of the most difficult situations faced by most graduates today is a lack of job. This has led to loss of interest in education among most Nigerian youths, as they now consider it a waste of time, majorly because most of these graduates only finished with their certificate as the most valuable asset they gained from their many years in school, as only a few managed to finish up with profitable skills beyond their ability to read and write. To solve this problem and ensure that the youth are physically and mentally empowered for profitable ventures on graduation, education experts say the way forward is entrepreneurship education, which has the capacity of creating entrepreneurship mindset that will eventually translate into knowledge and ability to fish instead of being given fishes.
I think entrepreneurial education offers to the students, whether after secondary school or after tertiary education, the capacity to open up businesses and become labor employers.
As our children graduate with skills in various courses, they'll be able to go and set up their businesses and be their own boss instead of going about looking for a job which do not even exist. So we are wishing that the parents, the government, and other stakeholders should support these projects in all secondary schools so that every child that completes school should leave school with the orientation and the mindset that he can set up his own business and manage the business successfully.
They maintain that education in the 21st century, if it must provide the needed solutions, it must move towards less content and more experiential learning to create positive outcomes, increase creativity, innovation, risk-taking ability, critical thinking, among others.
You have a group of children that have already started their own company. All of them are managers. I was shocked when they came in here to see me and to introduce their company.
Donor agencies should come in to support this project to be done in all the schools. And I tell you, within 2, 3, 4 years, Nigeria will never be the same.
Some beneficiaries of entrepreneurship education who are already self-reliant while still in secondary school say they can't wait to hit the market with their various skills.
I'm talking to you now. I don't buy any soap again in the market because I can do the soap very well with my hands.
As I'm standing here, I have my own workplace at home. I use it to develop myself.
I can also be doing this as a work, also to pay my school fees.
Quality education is expected to build character, enable learners to be ethical, rational, compassionate, and caring, while at the same time preparing them for gainful and fulfilling ventures. Where this is not the case, something huge is missing. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
Hope Baptist Conference of the Nigerian Baptist Convention has ended its annual session. An induction service held at the First Baptist Church in Calabar. Correspondent Benny Achibong, who witnessed the occasion, reports that Reverend and Pastor Mrs. Richard Udokin were inducted as the substantive president, Hope Baptist Conference.
The epoch-making event, which drew guests and members of the Baptist Convention from all over the country, was an atmosphere of jubilation and expression of gratefulness to God. Guest speaker Reverend Dr. Israel Akanji called for cooperation, commitment, and understanding while charging the new inductees to be courageous as warriors at duty posts.
I was made as I could be in my coat of many colors. But that coat of Joseph ended up in blood, and they showed it to his father, and that was the announcement of his obituary. The only symbol of his death that they had. If God has destined you to wear coats, no matter how many people destroy your coat, your coat will still come to you.
High point of the occasion was presentation and induction of the conference president.
You into office as the president of the Hope Baptist Conference, may I call you to respond before God and his people to the following questions.
I am happy for today. Like I said, it wasn't something that I dreamt about. I was just happy and content with working and laboring in the vineyard of God. And the Bible says promotion does not come from the east or from the west. It is God who sets up a king. It is God who removes a king. So it pleased the Lord to bring me to this position.
My prayer for him is that he will move from strength to strength, from honor to honor, and from glory to glory.
Friends, relatives, and well-wishers spoke in glowing terms about the couple, whom they described as an accelerating force to actualize development strides in the Lord's vineyard.
And indeed, we are glad that today, while we are celebrating the 12th annual session of the Hope Baptist Conference, we are also inducting the first substantive conference president. We have had acting presidents in the past, but he is the first to come into this full-time responsibility. And indeed, we are grateful that so many people came in appreciation of this.
In fact, they tried very much, and we pray that God, who has given him this position, will lead him through. And as those ones helped him, lifted him up, they will lift him up continually, and the Lord will see them through.
Earlier, the conference royal ambassadors and leaders mounted a guard of honor in respect of the president of the Baptist Convention and the substantive president, Hope Baptist Conference. In Calabar, Nta Calabar, NTA News.
To further demonstrate his love for his heartthrob, Nta Calabar has taken Happiness Udo as his wife, which was performed in the presence of God and the people. It was a sort of double celebration, as Goodness Nta Calabar, a product of the union, was dedicated to God at the Apostolic Church Nigeria Ikoreku Assembly. Nta Calabar was there for NTA News.
It was an atmosphere of jubilation and expression of gratitude to God for grace of God upon the lives of Mr. Awatam Asukwo Okun, and Miss Happiness Peter Udo during their blissful outing. The officiating minister, Pastor Sen, harped on the benefits of being married and the benevolence of God's glory. He charged them to groom their children in the way of the Lord.
Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 and 23. Wives, submit yourself unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church.
The couple took marital vows, exchanged rings, signed the marriage register and certificates, and to crown it all, dedicated baby Goodness Awatam Asukwo to God. At the reception, chairman of the occasion and other well-wishers, including the general manager, Nta Calabar, Mr. Sam Olalude, advised the couple to live a life reflective of their vows to each other.
I will charge them to continue sharing love, mutual trust, and respect for each other.
God will give them everything they need to sustain this marriage. God will give them everything they need to bless the child and bring them up in the way of the Lord.
There was cutting of cake, after which Mr. and Mrs. Awatam Asukwo fed each other.
I'm very happy because for the day, the weather, everything, at times, everybody.
That the Lord have done what He has said that He will do for me. So I say, God, thank you.
So my advice for me to say, God, I pray for God to give them long life, give them joy, protect them.
I'm very, very happy. Now only God could protect them from me.
Well,
we thank God for everything. I said God should bless them, to give them peaceful marriage.
The groom is a brother to Mr. Asukwo Okun, is staff of NTA Channel 9, Calabar. In Calabar, Benia Chibon, NTA News.
And on a sad note, President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with family of the founder and General Overseer of Christian Pentecostal Mission International, Reverend Obiora Ezekiel, over the passing away of the clergy, joining the entire congregation and Christian community in mourning. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says the religious leader demonstrated love, peace, and joy in pursuing his passion for soul winning. The President notes the General Overseer's role in raising many spiritual sons who have also moved on to mentor pastors, evangelists, and teachers, commending his vision for founding the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. President Buhari urges prayers for the family of the departed, particularly his wife and spiritual partner, Reverend Macy Ezekiel, praying that the Almighty God will receive the soul of the renowned evangelist. To end the news, a recap of the major stories. National Assembly has transmitted the Electoral Bill 2021 to the President for assent. Stakeholders have harped on effective management of local government system for the development of rural communities. It was also in the news that experts have advocated implementation of entrepreneurship education in secondary schools across the country. That is it on our news tonight. Thanks for watching and you have a lovely evening. Good night.